managers hit me up, like, wanting to work with me and stuff like that. And the first thing that everybody was saying was, man, you got to get out of Omaha. Nothing come out of Omaha. So they was just like, man, you got to get with some trainers, that's been, training world champions and all that. So they basically try to, move me,
get
new trainers, everything. So I'm listening. I'm like, what? He was like, no, it's nothing against them. It's just, you talented, but they brought you as far as they can.
Talk about Bomac.
Yeah, he just like, they brought you as far as you can. Now you need to step it up. So I'm like, you know what? Fuck you. I ain't talking to you. I'm out. You know what I mean? So then I got with Cameron Duncan. You know what I mean? I'm like, man, listen. They coming with me, with you or without you.
Okay, what we just heard was a lesson in loyalty. Is this one of the reasons why Bud is
in Nebraska.
one of the realest niggas in boxing? Let's talk about it.
Attitude of gratitude.
Attitude of gratitude. So, some people are like similar to moths, once your light starts shining bright, here they come fluttering around.
And why shouldn't I get paid?
But when you were working in the dark, putting in the hard work, they were nowhere to be found. That's what these managers were who were courting Bud, trying to get him away from the same people that helped to get his light to shine bright. It's funny because it's like obvious Bud is like one of God's children, right? Because it's like here he was, like Daniel, thrown in the lion's den, and yet he made it out unharmed. I mean, this is the same dude who took a bullet to the head. God still got him. Family matters to this man. And it's not necessarily always the family you were born into. It could be one that you've created, the people that you met in the gym and that you put all these years in, sweating, maybe telling your problems, what's going on at home, but so he didn't listen to whisperings of sweet nothing from money in his ear, because you better believe that these managers, hey, we could get you this, we could get you that, that money talk.
Your money, your lifestyles, the things that people value and covet so dearly are the bait that lure.
No, he stuck to his guns and said, he was going to stick with the people that got him there. That, realness and that authenticity that you see in that tweet that he put out, it's rare because so much in boxing is a lot of people putting on a front. And I'm not trying to sit here and talk shit about people.
Might have to drop a dime on them niggas.
These fighters, because I understand at the end of the day, they're entertainers and they have to, entertain us fans who, we come from, in this country, America, where you got the WWEF, whatever the fuck it's called, but this like showmanship, and boxing has even though it's a very dangerous sport and you can lose your life in it, there is an element of showmanship. And a lot of these fighters, I don't know, maybe they lose themselves in putting on the act and feel like they have to, be a certain way. I'm not going to call out a few, a few boxes, but, think about some fighters that you've seen that be putting on this like show, and yet here we have someone who was not going to allow people to break up and move him from Nebraska to wherever they, Vegas or Cali, he stuck with the people that he started with. Would we still behold undisputed destiny like we have with Crawford if he had moved from where he was and went with some other trainers? Will we still witness the greatness that we see in this dude? I feel like we could all take a lesson from who this dude is. These youngsters call it, I think they call it like glazing or whatever, like when you like talking highly about another dude. But I don't give a fuck. I'm gonna give this dude his flowers because I feel like the young kids who are trying to be in this sport of boxing. I know D, a youngster like my nephew. This dude is, he wants to be a boxer. That's one of his goals. And it's like someone like Bud Crawford is a positive role model, a positive example of who you can be in this sport. You don't have to be something outside of yourself. You don't have to put on a facade. You don't have to walk around talking shit, trying to act hard, trying to be something that you're not. Just work hard, and it will pay off. Be yourself. You don't have to be something you're not. You know what I'm saying? Find, a coach, a trainer who's gonna really pour into you and stick there, but it has to be on you as well. You gotta put in the work. We see that Bud is the disciplined one. He is the one staying in the gym, staying away from alcohol, watching what he's eating, like all of those things you have to do as well. But find you a team like, I have like the utmost respect for their team, the B&B crew. Like them dudes is like, they're showing people, what you can do in this sport. I think about like Errol Spence and how, him and his trainer had a falling out. I be thinking like, man, how it would be so great if Errol hooked up with Bud's team and, they were able to get him back. Now, hear me out. Errol needs to spend time with his family, his loved ones, do what he's doing. I'm not trying to rush him back in the ring because I feel like we're all like, oh, Errol, come back. Like let this man, like he's been doing this for who knows how long. Let him spend time with his son, his daughter, his wifey. You know what I'm saying? But to have a team like Bud, you know what I'm saying? How they just move different. You know what I'm saying? And they seem to be solid. If you watch his YouTube channel now, how they were, when they were training, getting ready for the Canelo fight. Everything they do, like they seem to be having fun. They seem to be loving it. It's like, yo, that shit is like, it's hard work. You can see they putting in the work, but there's a love for it because there's that family, that unity. And yo, family matters, man. But it's not always the family that you have been born into. It could be the one that you created. So I just wanted to put a post out on, glazing. I don't give a fuck. Call it what you want if that's what I'm doing. But anyways, so yeah, talking about, the realness and authenticity of, of someone in boxing, because I feel like the youth who are growing up in this need to hear about it and need to see someone giving their flowers while they're still alive. So yeah, that's all I got to say. Look, we at 10 subscribers now. Come the fuck on. Can I get a like? Can you share my shit with somebody? Hook a nigga up. You know what I'm saying? You see I'm struggling. Okay? Deuces.